Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I got some happy mail recently and I thought I would share it with you guys. So as some of you may know, Amazon Prime Day was the 11th and the 12th. The 11th being happened to be my birthday. So, you know, good excuse, right? Yeah. So I said, hey, it's my birthday, I'm going to treat myself. So I got these from Etsy. These are, well, I paid for 2 of the dots, but samples, but they're watercolor. But the rest were a gracious gift from the seller, whose name is Masha. She is incredible. Her stuff is so good, and she's so nice. So I got these 3 half pans, a couple of the dots, and some cute little quarter pans. So we'll deal with that later. But what I wanted to show you is something I have never tried before. Oops, wrong side. I love this little case, right? It's cool. So I got it for $50. It normally runs $74, and there is a 30% off coupon running right now. The company is OOKU. Don't ask me to try and pronounce it. I have no idea. But it's gotten pretty good reviews, like 4.4 out of 5, which is reasonable. And most of the reviews that I saw on Amazon were fairly complimentary. Most of them, I didn't see anything overwhelmingly negative. So these are squirrel hair. And I have never played around with anything like this. So the sizes of the brushes are numbered from 1 to 2, all the way up to 6. These are round brushes. This is the shape. Oops, hold on. They come plastic capped like this, which I love. They have stainless steel rings to help hold everything in. Plus some glue on the to help hold the shape. I've rinsed this one off so you can see how it looks. The handles are nice and ergonomic. I can't talk. But yeah, I've never played around with squirrel's hair, and yeah, the squirrels won't miss it. So, but I love that they do those 2 things. So I want to show you what happens. I used to think that a new brush that you had to rinse it in warm water. You do not, for it to come loose. So they just pop off. You just kind of carefully, gently loosen the little case. And I'll show you with my little, I absolutely adore this thing, by the way. Pop it in the comments if you would like me to briefly talk about this in another video. I absolutely adore this water container. It has holes for the brushes. It's just, it's amazing, actually. But yeah, look, I'll show you, as you can see, hopefully, it does not need warm water to dissolve. I used to think so. Now, just kind of, to drain a brush, the proper way is to kind of push a little bit, give it a minute, and then drain like that. It gives the water time to travel down the brush into the bristles and then come out. See? Aren't these gorgeous? I absolutely love these. We got a couple to play around with. As I said, these are round brushes. I did have a bristle come loose from this one, but that's perfectly normal, especially when you're first loosening it. These are Hakes or flat brushes. They're very good for washes or large, when you're trying to wet large sections of the paper. These things are excellent. They come in much larger sizes than this, so I have a pretty big one that's way bigger than this. The set of these does come with 2 of those large flat brushes. I didn't get it because I don't need those 2 brushes. And that 10-piece set is $77. It probably has a coupon too, I don't know. But it also it comes in a 4-piece set for $54. Then there's a 6-piece set for $61, and then this set, which is the $74, not including the 30% coupon. So I cannot post the live links. I'm sorry. I'm not an Amazon affiliate yet, so I can't. I tried. I beat myself over the head trying to do it, and I just could not. And then I figured out it's because you have to like have a certain number of subscribers. So I'm waiting on that day. But in the meantime, this is a cat's tongue. Cat's looking at me going, what? I have my kitty is sitting next to me on my ottoman, just chilling like a villain. And then there's another flat brush, and then this one, I'll pull this one out and show you. This one is something called a fine liner. It's for when you're doing really delicate things like botanicals, like say a stem. Not my strong suit. But isn't this absolutely gorgeous? It says it's a size 3. So, yeah. And I'm thinking that this might actually be a round brush and not a fine liner. What do you guys think? I don't know, man. What do you guys think? I'm not quite sure. I think it's another round brush. I was supposed to get a fine liner. Huh. Well, and this one's these ones are a bit different than this one. Oh, there's another thing. I haven't used these yet, guys, so I'm learning too. Look, they're different. You see that? These have these rings, whereas these just have the standard metal. These are, wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I did not notice that till just now. Wow. Huh. Well, that's intriguing. Okay, so I did a little research, and I discovered something. So these are, according to the description, these are quill brushes, which is why they're ringed with 304 stainless steel, and why these ones are aluminum barrels. These are quill brushes, so that's why they're ringed like that. That makes perfect sense. Both are squirrel hair, but they're quill brushes, but they're also round. They're also round shaped too, so they're both. So I thought that was interesting. I had to stop and look that up because I was like, huh. So, see, I'm learning stuff right along with you. So, what I thought I would do is grab some of my new favorite paper, which is the Aqua Hello. Cannot talk today. Lord help me. All right, 140 pounds, Fabriano, 100% cotton, and guys, yes, it does matter. If you're just playing around, I'm going to speak real briefly to this before we get on to the other thing, because it kind of matters. I have heard many people say that it does, and I was like, yeah, come on, it's just watercolor paper. It's watercolor paper. It's not. So when you play around with the other paper, well, I'll show you an example here. All right, so this paper is pulp. It's made, instead of 100% cotton, it's made from pulp. Wood pulp, to be specific. So what you're going to find with this is that when you lay down watercolor on it, it's just going to kind of sit on top of it before it sinks in. A little bit more than something like this, for example. So that can be a problem if you're doing a complicated picture and you need to have a lot of different layers. Wood pulp is good when you're practicing, playing around, experimenting, just, you know, whatever, horsing around. But if you're doing a specific project, or in this case a video, I really want to have the 100% cotton. It just is better. And Fabriano makes excellent paper. It's a little pricey, but it's well worth it. So let's get this set aside here. Ta-da. Okay, so here we have our paper. All right, so let's grab our brushes. And I thought I would use them to sort of test out some of my new paint. So she is such a gracious seller. I highly recommend you look her up on Etsy. I really do. Her stuff is absolutely unbelievable. It's reasonably priced for the high quality that it is. And I just kind of buy here and there when I can afford it. And sometimes I use Klarna to, you know, pay it off slowly. But it came packaged kind of like this, with everything in that. It's cute. I like the pink. These are the colors. I have a whole collection of her stuff. So these are the actual, ta-da. So let me get my pen. Okay. And the way you want to get these open is just very carefully. It just peels off like that. Oh, there we go. This one is, if I remember correctly, oops, hold up. Oh, it is upside down. My eyesight's failing me. There we go. Ta-da! All right. Sometimes I can't see where the hoot. It says natural pigment on the side and malachite on the other side, which is what it is. I absolutely love malachite. It's one of my favorite colors. I love it. This could be proved to be a little tricky to get open. So what you're going to want to do is grab a craft knife. And if my camera bounces around a little, I apologize. I have, as I said, I have some new equipment that I'm learning the ropes how to use. It's so amazing. The swing arm, it has like a straight end at the side, and then a swing arm that extends way over onto my desk. I'm just like, oh, so happy. Because the other one, the swing arm part of it was just not long enough for where I wanted to put it. And I saw this on Amazon Prime. I was like, yeah. Now, perhaps. So, anyway, that's the malachite. And yeah. Okay, so that was fun. Yeah, that was not fun. I don't know if we're going to leave this in or not, but okay. So anyway, this is one of my favorite colors. I have a swatch of this. I've had a dot sample of it for so long, and I finally was able to get a larger portion. I absolutely love this color. It is turquoise violet. This color will absolutely blow your mind. We will talk some more about these colors after I get them all undone. Okay, and this one is, can't read it. Oh yes, granite. This is another I had a, I don't know if, I think I had a sample of it. It's like a warm gray kind of thing. It's cool. And we'll move on to other things. All right, so, and again, I have the 100% cotton paper, which is absolutely amazing. So I think now what you want to do with this sort of stuff is you want to get it wet first before you go digging your brush into it. That way you won't dig so hard into it. So I put mine just kind of in here because I don't want to get it all over my paper yet. And I just dip it in there and then I just let it run off. Now if you have a whole palette of things, then you can get like a little spray bottle and just spritz everything. In this case, it's really not necessary. And you just let it set for a few seconds. Because if you don't, then it won't have time to activate. And I don't know if you can see the, you actually should be able to. You can kind of see that it's starting to activate underneath the water. That's good. So what should I draw? Or we'll just do like a little flower shape maybe. I gotta get this off of here though. There we go. I have my first time using one of these. I'm just like, You can twist and push. Now you can do wet on wet. I didn't wet the paper first. Doesn't seem like it's necessary. And if it collects in one place like that, just kind of push it around. And if it just keeps doing that, just dab that's why you keep the stuff like that handy. Just dab some of the excess water off so it'll be a little drier. In this case, I kind of wanted to collect at the bottom a little bit, so that is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And I'm barely touching the paper, by the way. Just barely. Wow, so pretty. I went back in with a little more of the pigment just to kind of give it a more solid look. Now, this particular pig, semi-transparent and slightly granulating. I can tell a little bit. Isn't that gorgeous? It's absolutely gorgeous. Make sure that it's still wet. Now we're getting more into the wet on wet look a little bit. So I wonder what would happen if I took this and mixed it with that. Let's have fun and find out. Let's get this. Make sure you rinse your brush out really good. And I'm not getting rid of too much of the excess, just a little. And I'm just going to go ahead and not use my other thing. Hopefully I won't drop any on the paper. Let that settle for a second. Oh, this is beautiful, guys. What do you think of that? It's turquoise violet. Isn't that gorgeous? So let's see how. Whoops, I think I had too much liquid. That's what the rag's for. Wow. Now I can tell this is there's a pocket where it's lifting, the whole paper is lifting right here. That's why the water's being pushed to the bottom, because right in here it's kind of lifting a little bit. So that's just something to be aware of. It happens. You just kind of have to work around it. I didn't think I would need to tape it because it's all sort of glued together, but I don't know. That's intriguing. Let's see what this looks like without it. All right, rinse my brush. Whoops. Wow. Look at that, guys. Wow. I'm not even gonna... Oh, look at that. This is highly granulating, somewhat moderately staining, and semi-opaque, I believe, if I remember correctly. But don't quote me. Look at that. Oh my gosh, you guys. This is why I wanted a bigger size of this. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely stunning? Whew. Oh my word. And you can see the different pigments. It looks like she mixed French ultramarine and ultramarine, and I see a wee bit of green too. My gosh, that is absolutely stunning. And of course violet, but that's absolutely stunning. Wow. And it mixed really pretty with that malachite. That looks kind of pretty, don't you think? I kind of like it. It's different. So let's move on to the next one. Oh my gosh, that color, I'm just so in love with that color. It's absolutely unbelievable. So let's try a different brush. Make sure I rinse my brush out really good. As I said, if you want me to do a short little video on that water bucket I have, I could talk for days about that thing. So let's get this wet, and I'm gonna try, we can play around with, let's try the cat's tongue brush. There we go. I love this case. So let me get the glue off of it. It only takes a few seconds, but it's really important to helping preserve the health of the brush while it's in transit. And also, when you're done with your brush, try to put them upright like this. I don't know if you can see, but something like that. Try to do that while it's drying. Okay, it will preserve the life of your brush. So let's get this wet. I know I said about using this other thing, but I don't know. Okay, probably should though. Okay, let's try this again. You don't need very much, just a little bit, just enough to cover the surface. You can just let it be for a minute, and it won't take, if it's a high quality pigment watercolor, it won't take very long. Long enough for me to catch a drink. All right. Let's see. Just kind of gently tap it into the water. Not very, you don't need to push very hard. So look at that. I wonder how this malachite would fare with this. And if you get a little too much water or pigment, whatever, just take your brush, make sure it's wipe it off so it's not like soaking wet. Sometimes you might need to rinse it out, sometimes not. In this case, no. And just kind of go like that. Ta-da! There you go. Wow, that is amazing. My goodness. This is what I mean, guys. Her stuff is so good. It makes anything I could get from the big box stores in half of Amazon. It would not even hold a candle to this. And look how that is drying. Now, also, while I see this, if you see a couple of stray hairs, don't freak out. Just, you know, kind of wet it. Go like this. Just gently. Don't squeeze too hard, and just kind of bring back its shape, and it should be fine. As long as you keep it well washed. I have stuff that it's called pink soap. It comes in a bottle, and it's supposed to be super gentle on brushes. I will put it in the description, the name of it, the official name of it in the description. You can get it at Amazon, any Michaels, anything like that. I would highly recommend that over anything else. And its price point is quite reasonable, not expensive at all. But it's much better for the health of your brushes than, like, say, even detergent. Although Dawn, you could possibly get away with. Wow. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to swatch this granite, and then I'm going to mix it in with some of this to see, because I'm just so curious. So let's let you get wet. I love the little heart shapes that she puts the quarter pans in. I think they're so adorable. Yeah. So I'm going to swatch this by itself so you can see what it looks like. And I'll show you some of the things that this type of brush can do. You know, as I said, I'm still learning, but it keeps splattering too. What? The other one did the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So let me get this off of here. So make sure you guys can see this. Okay. Watch this. Tip, press, tip. And then you just take your tip and you kind of smooth it out. Ta-da! You can just kind of, but it's a little too abstract for you can just, isn't that cool? And then you can just take your little tip of your brush and just kind of finesse it a little bit if you want. Been hearing. So now that that is done, isn't that absolutely gorgeous though? And as you can see also that I just spilled water on that, how the turquoise violet is drying. You see all those colors, and there's just, you can tell it's granulating by the fact that you see all these different colors. And if you were to, here, I'll show you something before we do this other thing, because, well, I think of it. One of the ways that you can tell it's granulating is to take it like this. Okay. And let it settle. So I'm going to take it over there and I'm just going to let it settle for a minute while I get this wet again. Oops, I need a little bit more here. Okay. Let's grab my, because it takes a second for it to separate, so it's not something that happens right away, so I have to put it to the side for now and let it do its thing. The pigments have to sort of settle in, and I can't force that, so I'm going to come back to that, and let's take the granite and see how it mixes in with this. I'm very curious as to see how this happens. Things in watercolor typically dry different than when you lay them down. They will typically dry a lot lighter. I don't know why that is, but it just is. It's a thing. I've not had any college classes or you know, art school. I just, you know, tutorials and practice. Whew. So this is the Deep Sea. Sorry, this is the Turquoise Violet. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one, but that's okay. This is, oh wait, I didn't. This is the Deep Sea. And then this is the granite. So it'll be very interesting to see how those dry together. I'm kind of curious. They're both very granulating, so it should be very interesting. And you see the how it's kind of spotted. Some of that's the paper, but some of it is the pigments that she used to make it granulate and to give it its color is what's doing that. Some of that will fade as it dries. If you look at this one, I'm gonna bring this up so you can see, aside from the spot where I got it wet, you can see that some of that spottiness has dried and gone away, but you can still see it, like right in here. If you look really close, you can still kind of see it, especially right in here. That's the other pigments that are granulating colors that she mixed in. So I'm very curious to see how that dries. I love this. It's almost like this granite is almost like a 90% warm gray, maybe 70%, something like that, if I'm going Prisma. Oh wow. So there's that, and while that dries, oh, let's see if this is settled yet. Hold on. Okay, so dabbed my painter. Let's see. Do you see how it basically just totally changed color? That's how you know it's granulating. And the more granulating it is, the more that's going to happen. I have Tiger's Eye, and boy, and that and Oxide Black from Van Gogh, talk about a complete color change. It's just unbelievable. So I'm just going to go back over this, I guess. See how an extra layer makes it look. So, having did that, I thought we would play around with some of the samples that I got. And so far, these brushes are performing very well. I've only had one loose hair in one of them, and one that sticks out a little here, and that's really about it. This one might have a hair come loose, but we'll see. So let's try this. And whoopsie. Dark Planet. Oh my gosh, this color, y'all. Let me show you something. Here is a swatch that I did of the dots that I have. This is the Ultramarine Deep, and I did a what do you call it? Where I put some pencil down like black to test for opaqueness, and it's highly granulating, semi-transparent, moderately staining. Most of them are kind of in this format. Dragon's Blood, I will be getting. I could only get a dot sample because it was out of stock for the others. But it's also semi-opaque and moderately staining. I forgot to write down the granulating part, but I can test that out. Semi-opaque for Dark Planet, that's this color right here. Semi-opaque, moderately staining, and highly granulating. And then there's Mint, which is also the same, semi-opaque, moderately staining. And then we have Shadow Blue Light, semi-transparent and highly granulating. And let's see, the last one of my favorites is Viola, semi-opaque, mid-staining, and highly granulating. And then the Dark Shadow, which is kind of about the same. I mean, aren't these absolutely gorgeous? I mean, the mint, look how bright that is. It's just like, so good. I forgot I did that. So let's see how our thing is drying. But yeah, so you just barely touch it, and it just, and this is why these are really good. So just do a wash. Like if you want to do a wash, make sure there's a fair amount of water on your brush, and you just kind of go like that. And if it's 100% cotton paper, it will just sink right into it, which is what it's doing. See, that's the difference between pulp paper and 100% cotton paper. You saw how that just sunk right into it? That's how you know you've got good paper. You can do a lot more layers with it. So, you know, again, if you're just messing around, but if you're like doing a commission, or you're that kind of artist that you're good enough to do work like that, I would definitely recommend spending the extra money for the better paper. You just can't do the same things with the other kind of paper. Look how sheer that is. That is crazy cool. And I'll show you another one. Let's see. That was Dark Planet, and I wonder if Dragon's Blood would look good over that. So I got Dark Planet, and I'm going to put some Dragon's Blood. I absolutely love. It's like a rich pinky red. It's absolutely gorgeous. I wonder what it would look like over that. I'm gonna find out. You see, again, the difference between crappy paper and good paper. It's just... You won't really know how something's going to look until it actually dries. Okay. What is that? Okay. So, clean my brush a little. And I'm going to show you. Let's move over here. Oops. Did not have enough water. Hold on. I didn't have quite enough water. See, and then you can also do really thin. If you use the tip like this, you can do really thin lines like that. So if you were going to do like a stem for a flower, look at that gorgeous color. Ooh, almost like a carmine red, maybe. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments what you think this resembles to you. What do you think that is? I think it's like a carmine red, but I would be very interested to know what you guys think. She calls it Dragon's Blood, which I think is a super cool name. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I would be very interested to know your opinion on what you think that is. So, well, that's interesting. Let's give this a quick dry and we'll see how this looks. Because it is amazing to me how... Oh, I highly recommend investing in one of these, by the way. Especially if you do a lot of watercolor, I highly recommend. And be very careful to not bake your paint, especially if it's acrylic, okay? You don't want to cook your paint, so just keep a very close eye on it. And just gently kind of, you don't want to bake it. Okay. And the reason for that is that when you do it too much with the blow dryer, what you're doing is you're expanding the paper, the fibers of the paper, and they won't, if you overheat it, they won't contract back down, and it could mess up your picture. So just be very careful when you dry that way, that you keep a very close eye on it to make sure it's not being cooked. That's very bad. So, oh my gosh, look how... Oh my goodness, my mind is like hashtag blown. Wow, that is stunning. Yo, guys. So, let's see if this is dry yet. So that's the deep sea and the granite. I don't know, I think the granite might be more opaque than the deep sea. So let's take that deep sea and go back over it and see what happens. This could be really great if you're doing like rocks. These two colors right here could be really great if you're doing rocks and stone, things of that nature. Maybe even stormy skies. I would say these two right here, the granite and the deep sea, could be good for like stormy skies. Yeah, definitely. I have to change to a new paper soon. All right. I absolutely adore this color. It's called Mint, and I want to experiment with that color and the malachite. So I'm just gonna... These hold so much water, all of them, from the quill ones to these ones. They hold so much water, so beware of that. They hold more than, to me, the synthetic ones do, in my opinion. At least the ones I've come into contact with so far. Wow, that is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's get this. Now see, this dried up pretty quick too, which is another sign of a good paint. So I got to reactivate it just a little bit. You always want to do this before you dig in. You can do it this way, or as I said before, you can do it with a spray bottle, but don't ever go into a pan watercolor like without activating it first. It's just like, I cannot stress that enough. I've done it, and I dug a huge hole. Even though my brush is wet, I dug a huge divot in my paint, and it wasn't expensive, but it wasn't budget either, you know, and I was not too happy. I learned a very difficult lesson. So look at that. I'm just gonna do the bottom half so you can still see the top without it. Whoa, that's gorgeous. Whoops. Did not mean to do it quite that bright, but okay. I hope you guys bear with me. I am still learning. You know, I don't pretend to know everything at all. I'm not that kind of artist, streamer. I still have a lot to learn. But the fun is just sharing with you guys what I've learned. So hopefully if you're still watching, which I hope you are, you will, and you enjoyed this content, I hope you will consider sharing it and liking and subscribing. I would really super appreciate it. Kind of help me grow my channel. Paper fibers a little bit too much, so I'm just going to go down like this. That top part is just straight up it's just that color by itself. All right. Oh, and a bristle did come loose, but that's okay. That, especially when you're first using the brush, that's going to happen. If that happens to you, don't freak out. It's fine. It happens. Now, if a bunch of them start coming out, then you got a problem. Then you need to, you know, hit them up and say, hey, this is not happening. I'm not okay with this. But a few is fine. I cannot wait to see how that dries. So, set that aside. And wow, I think that dried out pretty good. I mixed those two, the Dragon's Blood and the Dark Planet, and that's very interesting. I like it. But this has to be my absolute favorite. Oh my goodness. So, and if you get too much at one end and you don't necessarily want to mess around with it with your brush, just take your little, just kind of go like that. Just move it around that way. But yeah, that's pretty gorgeous, you guys. I love that. I mean, the more layers you add, the darker it will get. So that's why you should always start from light to dark. You can always go darker, but it's a whole heck of a lot harder to go light after it's dried. Now when it's wet, you know, as I showed you, can just take your brush and just kind of swipe like that, making sure the brush is clean and or dry. Oh my god, I'm like a bull in a china closet. My mom always said so. So this is Ultramarine Blue Deep. Now I'm assuming that means it's just got more pigment, or it's got a little black in it. I'm not really sure, to be honest. So if anybody knows, feel free to let me know in the comment, because I don't exactly know, but I will probably be looking it up. So I'm going to put this brush aside. Smaller. You know what? It says fine. I think this is a round brush though, because if it was a fine liner, it would be a little more narrow and it wouldn't be rounded here and then come to a point. If it was a fine liner, it would be all kind of the same, you know, it wouldn't have the shape that it does. So I don't, and it's number 3. I think this is not a fine liner, but it could be used as one. Let's see what this looks like. And by the way, keep an eye on your water. Always have 2, one for dirty, for initial rinse, and then the second for a final rinse. You always want to do that with, especially with watercolor. It's just keeps your brush a little bit cleaner. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to get it wet. You don't need much. And if you don't have a tub like I have where you can just set your brushes into it, I've seen people use all kinds of things. I've seen them use the things that you put between your toes to do your toenails. I've seen people use those. I've seen people use customized stuff from Etsy. I've seen all kinds of things. There's also another thing here. This I got off of Amazon, but you could also get it at Michael's. If you don't have something like that water container that I have, this will do too. I've used this for my colored pencils, but you see, ta-da, that'll work too. So just look under Amazon. It's not hard to find. They're everywhere. But that one is really good. And you just kind of have to put it together a little bit, but it's not a big deal. So now that this is activated, all right, so let's take this little brush and have a go with it. Cheese plans. I'm going to just wet a certain section of it. And you don't want to push very hard with your brush, by the way, just very gently. Because when you push too hard, then you ruin the bristles. Just barely tap it into your paint. Especially if it's high quality paint like this, a little goes a very long way. This is the Ultramarine Deep. Highly staining. Yes, definitely. According to my little thing here. Highly granulating, semi-transparent, moderately staining. So I was wrong. I'm glad I took notes. I still have so much to learn, guys. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So highly granulating, semi-transparent, and moderately staining. It's very pretty. So let's see if our other thing, while that dries, let's see if our other thing is dry yet. What do you guys think of that? That is the mint and the malachite. The top is the mint by itself, and then the bottom is the malachite and the mint together. I like that. All right. Let's try, let's see, what can we mix? Let's try the dark shadow in the Ultramarine Deep. Since this is still wet, and I'm going to get it a little more wet just to make sure. Let's try this dark shadow. Ooh. If you get too much, just kind of go like that. Just push it around a little bit until it's kind of even. There we go. That'd be very interesting to see what that looks like dry. But you see what I mean? I know I'm turning the paper around. Sorry, I'm like sort of running out of room. But you see how things dry. Like this, for example, the granite in the deep sea. You see how it dries different. Or even just the deep sea by itself. You see how they dry differently. This is the turquoise violet. And this one, I believe, was the turquoise violet. And I mixed it with the malachite, I think. Yeah. I'll have to look back because I forget which one I mixed that with. But it looks really gorgeous. And then there's the dragon's blood. I mean, there's endless possibilities. Her stuff is so good. And these brushes are testing out to be very nice. Very, very nice. I will try to do some sort of picture with them. Again, my freehand drawing skills are a work in progress. But I will do my best, because I think all of these colors I have a good eye. You know, I'm just learning to trust it. So, let's see if there's any I've missed. Oh yeah, the viola. I know I showed you the swatch of it, but you got to see this in action. It is absolutely stunning. It is one of the coolest colors I've ever come across. So let's see if we can squeeze out a bit of room here. And the way it goes wet is completely different as to how it dries. What do you think of that? Is that not gorgeous? And you can already see how it's starting to, how it looks a little pitted. That's the granulation. Gorgeous. Oh, I absolutely adore this color. And it dries like the way it dries is like that. It's like, what? What kind of wizardry is this? You know? And this is what it looks like wet. You see, that's another way you can tell. Do you see how the center of it is different than the outer part? The outer part's kind of like this green, blue-green kind of thing, and the center part is kind of darker. That's a very, very much of an indication also that it's granulating. Is when it does that. If I had my Oxide Black from Van Gogh, I would show you. That is probably one of the most plain examples I could ever find anywhere of any pigment as to granulation. It's stunning. If you don't have that color, you should definitely get it. It's fantastic for shadows. So here's the shadow blue light. I didn't get as much of that one, but I love it. Let me get a little more. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Ugh. Look at that. It's just gorgeous. So I'm going to take this off of the block because, as you can tell, I think that it's glued all the way around except for one little spot. This is how this paper is. There's one little spot, and I can't tilt it too much because my pigment will go running, but there. You see right here? And then the rest of it's glued. That's how you take your thing here. I know this is a bonus tip. It's a bonus tip. If you have block paper like this and you just carefully pry it apart like that. And again, I'm not going to state this enough. Be very careful. I have cut myself with these things because I'm a total klutz, but you know, hey. And you just get it off that way, basically. You just have to kind of go slowly and feel for where the edge is. The only part I have trouble with is this side one. It's glued, I think, a little bit more than the rest. And there it is. That's how you do it. That is the colors that are drying. So This is the, oh yeah, this was the Ultramarine Deep. I had to remember, sorry. This is not the 2-color combo. That is Ultramarine Deep. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the Shadow Blue Light. And the Dark Shadow. You can see how it's drying. Bring that up. Yeah, pretty good, right? This, gosh, sorry, I can't keep going back to that, but dang, it's just like, what? Have you all ever had a moment like that where you just go, whoa, what just happened here? And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, you know, because I've had, whoa, it's a bad thing. Yeah. So I'm going to try to do a little picture with some of these colors, and I will post that at the end of the video, so you have to watch to the end. And I will also try to use all of the different brushes, or at least most of them, so you can see what it's like to, on a little more detail, to use these brushes. I think these are absolutely amazing. I think that is going to be all, guys. But yeah, I hope you found this useful. Sorry if I babbled a little. I do that sometimes. I go down rabbit holes, but hopefully you love my rabbit holes. They're chock full of information. So yeah, guys, look up OOKU on Amazon for the different sets that I mentioned earlier, and as well as their price points. And so far I would highly recommend them. They've held together pretty well so far. The glue came off pretty easy. I haven't had a ton of bristles come out so far. Yeah, I would say very, very, very worth getting. I will put the names of everything that I used in the description. Again, I wish I could post live links, but I can't. But I will at least give the official names and at least where I got it, so that you can hopefully look it up yourself if you want to. The watercolors were on Etsy. The paper I got at a Blix store, but you could get it elsewhere. And the brushes were on Amazon, as well as the painter's bucket that also got on Amazon. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your week, and I will see you later. Bye.